Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name's Sky, and tonight I'm joined by the lovely T.
Hi everybody, welcome to a fabulous episode of Penguin Live TV. I'd just like to say thank you so much for tuning in to us yet again. For all of our regular viewers and for all of the newbies, welcome to a fabulous evening. Now, what I would like to say is I will be checking Facebook and YouTube for any really cool questions because I really want to stump Sky tonight. So have fun, and also just on the off chance anyone who's having a birthday tonight, happy birthday, and special shout out to Josh up in Newcastle. Enjoy.
All right, we had 1,279 penguins cross the beach last night. They arrived at 8:30, so we're getting towards that. Got a lovely view of our stands. I don't know that we've shown you the stands for a while. And I'll cast my eyes. Birds at the water's edge. It is time to cast our eyes to the water's edge. Reasonably low tide tonight, so the penguins have got a long journey across the beach. Where are these birds at the water's edge? Oh, yes, okay. So we've got a Pacific gull who might be frightening them away. So that bird off to the left is a Pacific gull, but I certainly saw some little penguiny heads, I thought. Yes, here we go. Just arriving on the edge. Right here, I see their white bellies against the water and against the rocks. Zoom in. Focus. There we go. Ooh. So the world's smallest and cutest little penguins just arriving on the Summerlands beach here, Phillip Island, Malau. So I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of Malau, the Bunurong of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. A few more penguins sort of toddling up to the group. Did they not raft tight enough, T? What was going on? Why are they slow poking it behind? But these guys certainly don't feel ready to go just yet. It is looking real. Actually, we're not looking out the window. It's really dark, but the cameras don't seem to look all that dark. Oh, actually, if you look above in the highway camera, yeah, that's actually, it is quite dark. So these cameras do well, don't they, T?
They sure do.
They do. So last time I was on the stream, everybody, I got you all to send in any penguiny poems or any nature parks poems. So do feel free to send them in again. If you've got any poems, if it didn't get read out last time and you'd like to get it read out tonight, do feel free to send it in again tonight, and T might read it out as the penguins begin their cross. But otherwise, we are Phillip Island Nature Parks. We are self-funded, or should I say visitor-funded? It's probably a better way of putting it. We are funded by people like you coming to visit the Penguin Parade, coming to visit the Koala Conservation Reserve, coming to visit Nobby's Antarctic Journey and Churchill Island Heritage Farm. And the money that you spend on those tickets and in our cafes and in our retail shops and all across our parks is what funds the important conservation, research and education work that we do here. So that is generally how we're funded. Of course, over the last year or so, our funding has changed a little bit because, of course, it has been hard to visit. Those of you who are watching from the UK, these are special UK live streams. Of course, you have not been able to visit. Our borders, unfortunately, have been closed. We would have loved to have had many more people over the last year, but yeah, we've been closed a fair bit as well. So, of course, if you'd like to help us, you can donate to the Penguin Foundation. The link is above, below, to the side, wherever it may be. And you can adopt a penguin. You can adopt all sorts of animals that we have here on the island. You can adopt a bandicoot, short-tailed shearwater, a koala, a few of our signature species you can adopt. I really recommend it. But of course, if you can, come and pay us a visit and come to see some of our sites. It's a good cause and it's a good time, so you can't really go too wrong on it. It's very sort of rocky tonight, isn't it, T? The sand has really been just sucked away from these rocks. And you know, this is actually a beach that you can swim on during the day, everybody. Not many people seem to know that, and particularly, the locals are going to be a bit angry at me for telling you this, but particularly if on a busy summer's day, if you want to have a nice beach to yourself, this is a great one to come to, because people don't realize that it's just open to the public during the day. You can just walk on down. You can come and see the penguin burrows. Try and look inside and see if you see any penguin faces poking out. You can have a lovely swim, as long as you're out of here before the afternoon.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock often is when we start saying, hey everybody, excuse us, we've got to start setting up the beach ready for the penguins.
Would you like to hear a poem?
Oh, I'd love to, T.
So we've got one from Jan.
Hi, Jan.
So, Phillip Island Nature Park, what a great resort. Chubby molting penguins waddling on legs so very short.
Yes, and we do. It is molting season. Well, it's beginning, I guess. I've seen a fair few molters out there.
I've seen
we're
heaps.
into it. Yeah. So what I mean when I say molt is most birds will drop a feather here and there, and because they fly, that is no problem. They just drop a feather and continue being able to fly, and the new one comes in, and they just molt as they go, replenishing their feathers, kind of like us with our skin. We get a new, what do we say, we get a sort of a new sort of set of skin about once a month.
Yeah.
About that, yeah. And it's just sort of continuously happening, and that's what happens for most birds. But penguins are not like most birds. Penguins, they can't just drop a feather here and there because they will lose their waterproof coat. They need to be waterproof to be able to swim and survive for days and weeks on end in the ocean. And so they've got, I like to think of it as a bit like it's like they're wearing a raincoat with a jumper underneath. They've got their outer sort of layer of the feathers that are keeping the water out, and then they've got soft downy feathers underneath that keep them nice and warm. And those soft downy feathers need to stay nice and dry. They can't be getting those wet. So of course, were they to lose a feather here, a feather there, that's a chink in the armour that the water can just zoom straight in. Where are these penguins going? It's a tough journey for them. But anyway, they chink in the armour, water can get in, and they can get cold. They can get their downy jumper that's underneath their raincoat wet, which is not going to keep them warm at all. It can get them waterlogged. No good. So instead of dropping a feather here, dropping a feather there, they do a catastrophic molt. And I love that name. It is so dramatic, isn't it, T? It's so like...
It sure is.
Oh, it's a catastrophic molt. Oh, it's a catastrophe. What are they going to do? But you know what? When you see them, it does feel a bit like a catastrophe because they just push out all of their feathers at once. They kind of stick out and then they just go out, and then there's feathers everywhere as they sort of rub up against things and get rid of their feathers, and then a whole new set comes in, and it has to be completely waterproof before they go out. Takes about 17 days. Of course, none of these things are ever exact, but yeah, roughly about 17 days for this catastrophic molt to occur, and then they're ready to go back out. So we might see some certified chunkers tonight, as Stephen calls them. Really chunky penguins that are full, because some of these penguins will almost double their weight. They'll almost get to about 2 kilos in weight, so that they can survive that 17 days of no eating, because of course they get their food from their penguiny supermarkets, which is the ocean. All right, they've made it.
Yep, so Bill's called an official start.
Oh yes, it is. Bill is the counter tonight. For those who haven't watched before, we count these penguins crossing the beach every night. We count them starting when they get halfway across the beach. So yep, a minute or two ago, I reckon he would have called the start time. And yep, he's off and racing now for 50 minutes. We count them for 50 minutes. And there's we've got some special technology that can do a little bit of counting, but for the purposes of our count each night, there is no special technology. It is just Bill with a pair of binoculars going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, a baby is in the mix and is chasing down an adult. Can you see in the middle near this box? There's a little penguin came out of the side just going, Mom, Dad, I'm hungry. I don't know that any one of them was your mum or dad, but it was worth a try, wasn't it? I don't know where it's gone. Which one was it now? This is the problem with penguins. They, to me at least, they all look a bit the same. Okay, I think it's that one who's walking back. I think this little penguin's gone, none of those were my adult. None of them are giving me food yet. On the prowl, watch, chasing. If it's this one that I think it is, it's this one kind of smaller, pursuing some of the other penguins, perhaps it looks like. Oh, that was really funny. Swooping in from the sidelines. We'll keep our eye out for any hungry penguins. We still do have a few chicks out there. Getting to the end of it now, because a lot of any adults who did have chicks would now be thinking about getting out into the ocean, putting on all that extra weight, getting ready for that molt. Oh, this looks like a new raft of penguins arriving. And very sorry to say, everybody, that in the event of there still being some chicks around when molting season happens. Oh, change camera. When molting season is occurring, they will prioritise themselves and their molt, and unfortunately they can leave their chicks earlier than they might like to otherwise. And in some ways it is good, because the first 5 years of the first 5 years, I'd say, first few years at least of a penguin's life are really tumultuous. The chances of them getting through those first few years are actually really low. Not many of our penguins do make it through those first few years. So if we have got penguins that have already made it past those really difficult first few years and they're breeding, then the fact that they would prioritize their own health over the chick that may or may not survive is actually really good. It's a really good breeding strategy. It means that we have stronger populations. So it's really sad from a human perspective. We go, oh, what about the chicks? But no, they're looking after themselves. And the thing is, not every penguin will molt every year. Sorry, no, that's not true. That's the opposite of what I'm trying to say. Not every penguin will breed every year. Breeding is maybe they will, maybe they won't. Some penguins may never breed, but every penguin must molt every year. That is absolutely crucial to their survival. It has to happen. So often when we learn about penguins and like sort of the cycle, the yearly cycle of the penguin, we often start with the molting season because that is the one sure thing. That is the thing that you definitely know is going to happen. And yet when it's time to molt, when those feathers are going to go, they have to look after themselves. Oh, we've got two rafts joining up, finding each other. Do we have any questions there, T, as we watch these? When two become one, that classic Spice Girls song. And we're watching two wattles of penguins joining together into one big wattle of penguins.
Tell us the numbers of those two big groups, that'd be great.
When two become one.
So
Waddles.
Kira's got a question.
Hi, Kira.
Do penguins have different calls, such as a call for danger or a call to go away?
Do they have different calls? And it's actually when three become one. I've just noticed just above, there's another little raft turn waddle that's looking to join in. When three become one. It's not as catchy, is it, T?
It's
Why didn't the Spice Girls write that one? Why didn't they know about this situation with our penguins and think ahead? Sorry, what was the question? Got distracted.
Do they have different calls, such as for danger,
Do they have different calls? Yeah, our penguins have lots of different calls. So we talk about it a fair bit on this live stream. If you've watched before, we talk about the hucking call, which is the call that they make when they're out in the ocean. They will spend the day out by themselves, but at night time to find each other so that they can come in together at the same time. They call to one another with a huck, and it sounds like this. Like that, and they call each other, they go, yep, there's my friends, fantastic, and they raft up together and then they swim in. So that's the noise you sort of hear. That's the first noise you hear as you're coming in. Then as you get into the nighttime, more noises start to come up, and it's sort of noises like sort of like a kind of things like that, and then the chicks sort of make a kind of noises, and then there's noises within that you'll hear more specifically, sort of like when they're breeding, or when they're saying, hey, back off, this is my patch, you're not coming near my territory, or whether or not they're specifically for danger, or they could be interpreted, I'm not sure, but to me, honestly, a lot of these calls, like besides like the huck versus the a lot of them sound the same to me. But I don't know how much study has been done into that.
Not a lot.
Off the top of your head, T?
Not a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, not sure, really. There might be some room for some more research. And was it Kira who asked this question?
It sure
was. Kira, if you're interested in doing a PhD on the subject, I reckon our Professor Penguin, Dr. Andre, he might look forward to your call. So, yeah, you never know. You never know. There's lots of room for study, I think, with our penguins. We've got a line of 4. The Spice Girls after Posh Spice left, walking along the highway here. A few of them look like they're getting ready to molt. There's a couple of them that are looking pretty... Oh, something just jumped away in the background. What was that? I think it's gone. It was probably just another penguin, honestly, wasn't it? Let's go to position 2. Let's watch their little penguiny butts waddling away as they catch up. Where'd they go? Ah, there they go. They do look a bit like a boy or girl band, don't they?
They do.
Walking in their line, sort of doing their walk, about to sing into their microphones. Stop right now. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going with the Spice Girls. This is the Spice Girls right here. If the Spice Girls had a penguin name, what would they be called? I don't know.
Pudgy.
Feathery Spice. Hucky Spice. Oh dear. All right, let's change cameras.
Okay.
Oh, they're still spreading along. Oh, did you have a...
I've got another question.
Yes, fantastic.
I know it's already been answered on Facebook, but for our YouTube viewers,
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne wants to know if we have a cold snap during a molt, are the penguins in danger of getting really, really cold?
Ah, interesting. Okay, cold snap during a molt. From what I understand, we are much more nervous about a hot snap during a molt. I haven't heard much about a cold snap. I think they would probably be... Oh, bunny running across, hopping across. Yeah, I don't think a cold snap is actually too much of a worry for these penguins. They're pretty good in the cold. The problem is a heat snap. So if we have a heat wave, which unfortunately due to things like climate change, because usually the molting season happens from about now, March is where it kicks off, and it's sort of like an autumn thing is usually what it is. Ideally, it would not be too hot. But yes, unfortunately with climate change, we're getting bigger heat events that are going further into off seasons, I guess. We are seeing, and when we have a heat wave, they are lasting longer. They are maybe hotter than they would have been. They are lasting for longer times than they used to. And there is only so much that these poor penguins can survive when they're out of the water, where they can't really drink, because they would usually drink the salt water, when they can't be getting extra food, when these burrows can be pretty well insulated, but on a 40-degree day, or one day of 40 maybe not so bad, but 3-4 days of 40 in a row without water, without being able to cool down, this is when we start to see heat stress penguins. And a heat wave during molt season can be really bad for a penguin population. But specifically on the cold, T, do you know much more about the cold?
They don't actually go bald as such. So what happens is that the old feathers don't fall out until the new ones start coming. So that's why they get really itchy and cranky.
Yeah, so the cold, not a problem. The heat, big problem. Oh, I'm loving this one. The struggler just getting ready to molt and having trouble walking. Oh, feel your pain, little penguins.
Okay, I've got one more poem.
Oh, I love a poem. Yes, absolutely.
This one's from Karen. So
Hi, Karen.
The little chunkers cross the beach, up the cliffs they have to reach. Waddle, waddle, Yochi too. Our wonderful little penguins blue.
Yeah! Oh, I love it. I love these poems.
They're pretty cool.
Kept me going the last few evenings. Really enjoyed them. So keep your poems coming. I'm always keen for a poem. These poor penguins, though, having to walk over all these rocks. Like, a low tide really just does add on for the journey for these penguins. Some of these penguins, I've told you before, but some of these penguins will be have a 2-kilometre journey. 2 kilometres they have. And on a night like tonight, you're adding a good 200-300 metres, which, as a human, you sort of might say 200-300 metres, that's not so much. But remember, these are 33 centimetres tall. These are tiny little things. And compared to the size of their body, 200-300 metres is just giant. So really, the tides do make a difference to some of their journey. If I were a penguin, I would want one of these beachside mansions. That's what I'd be wanting. I'd be hoping that that's where I was born. And if I was not born, hatched. If I had not hatched, I would be one of the mavericks. So we say that most penguins will go back to within 50 metres of where they hatched. However, of course, we have populations that have sprung up all across Australia. And when the St Kilda Pier and Breakwater was built, of course, there weren't penguins there before because it didn't exist. And since it has been built and developed or whatnot, I don't know what you call, do you technically say built, developed, made? Yep. Since it has come into being, there are now penguins there, and they have actually come from this population, which means there was a few rogues, there was a few adventurers, there was a few mavericks that went, you know what? I'm swimming into Port Phillip Bay every day to go and get my food, and then I'm swimming back all the way to Phillip Island to go to my nest. What a hassle. Am I going to bother doing that anymore? No. I'm going to move into this lovely real estate right here and save my commute time. And they may be rogues. They may not live your stereotypical lives that penguin society expected of them. But they're the pioneers. They're the adventurers. And they're the reasons that we have penguins all across Australia, is because at some point throughout history, the few rogues, one or two of the few rogues has just decided, you know what, I'm not going to go back to within 50 metres of where I was hatched like 95% of the other penguins. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to dance to the beat of my own drum. And I'd be one of those penguins, and I would pick one of these burrows that's on screen right now, because that looks like a much nicer walk home. We got 5 minutes left, everybody. Is that a chunky baby or a chunky molter? What have we got? Ooh, you a bit fluffy. Yes, you are. So this penguin does not seem to be having any shortage of food. Feather? Yeah, that looks fluffy to me. Yeah. I'm not going crazy. That looks very fluffy. So I'd say that's a chick, a very well-fed chick. And it looks like it's hassling potentially mum or dad and saying, is there any more food? You don't need any more food. You're good to go. And this one actually looks a fair bit like Bluey did before Bluey fledged. So this one might not be too far away from fledging. Of course, Bluey was our penguin who lived in our camera burrow. And we watched Bluey from egg, size of an egg, bit smaller than a chicken egg, to fledge, which happened just about a week ago. Yeah, almost exactly a week ago. We stopped seeing Bluey, and we wish Bluey all the best. So that's that was looking like a Bluey-esque penguin. Getting ready to go. Any questions, poems?
No questions or poems, but we have got a few penguin spice names.
Yes, fantastic. I've got to ask about that. Yes.
So we've got Jelly Spice.
Jelly Spice, yeah.
Poo Spice.
Poo Spice.
Chunky Spice.
Chunky Spice, yep.
Fishy Spice.
Fishy Spice, yep, like it.
That's all so far.
That's also far fantastic. Waddle Spice, I would say. Rafty Spice. Yeah. Preeny Spice. Yeah. There's no shortage of penguin Spice Girl names. And we had them on the show tonight. Can you believe it? The Penguin Spice Girls walked down our highway, strutted in fact. What an honour. I'm gonna laud that over all the other hosts. Say, oh, you missed out on the Penguin Spice Girls.
Well, here we go. A quick song title with a twist.
Oh, yes?
From Adam. It's Procol Harum, A Whiter Shade of Penguin.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, for wannabe, it could be like, if you want to be my penguin partner. If you want to be my penguin partner, you got to raft up with me. Something like that. Oh, the Spice Girls. Oh, for our younger viewers, the Spice Girls are a band. They're a band from the 90s. They're amazing. If you don't know who the Spice Girls are, look them up. They were good fun. When I was a kid, I was a bit of a Spice Girl fan.
We would never have guessed.
I was at exactly the right age to really just be exactly who the Spice Girls were targeting. primary school in the mid-90s. We used to play Spice Girls, in fact. You got to pick which Spice Girl you're going to be, and then you'd get the song lyrics out of the CD and you'd sing your bit and do rehearsals for probably your friends and parents who probably weren't very interested, frankly. Like, yes, Sky, do your Spice Girls.
Okay, last couple. Multi-spice.
Multi-spice.
Pilchard spice.
Love it. That's hilarious. Oh, multi-spice. Oh, that's my favourite.
Yeah.
I'm giving the chocolate to multi-spice.
Definitely. That's gold, that one.
I'm just imagining the costuming for multi-spice. Just this bedraggled costume of feathers everywhere.
Feathers everywhere.
Oh, that has tickled me good and proper. I can feel my cheeks getting very red from laughing. All right, we've got 1 minute left, everybody. So get your fill of penguins until tomorrow night. Remember to donate to the Penguin Foundation if you can. Come visit us if you can. We'd love to see you. If you like these streams and you'd like more penguins in your life, there is the group, the Waddle Watchers. It's called Waddle Watchers Anonymous on Facebook. It is a group of people who love penguins and like to share things about penguins. So if once a night this penguin live stream is not enough for you, do feel free to join that group. It's not affiliated with Phillip Island Nature Parks, but it has sort of spawned out of these live streams. So it can be could be a good place to get more penguins if this isn't enough penguins, if these half an hour slots aren't enough. And we'll be doing these live streams for at least another week or two, particularly for our UK audience. We hope these penguins have brought a smile to your dial this morning in the UK. And even if you're not in the UK, we hope that you've enjoyed the penguins too. Oh, the cameras are telling me it's time to go there. They're not focusing for me, so we better go. Any last notes from you, T?
No more notes. But
No.
thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah, as the Spice Girls would say, goodbye, my friend. All right, bye everybody. Let's huck away, T.